So then, we talked about women who take career breaks, right? Which means that they've had a career where they've been earning their own income, and whether it is because of family needs or just because they need to take a break for caregiving or what have you. During that time frame, right? I think if you know that you're going to be on a break for a few years, if you already know that, right? Or if you kind of have an idea of you are going to get back to work, but right now you want to consolidate and use the income that you have or your savings, how can that be better managed? What have you seen in your career that you can talk to women about?
So I think a couple of things, and I go back to what Dipika and Lavanya were also talking about, and that is, you start planning your investments and your finances very early in life. So maybe from your first paycheck itself, you start planning, and it has to be goal basis. It cannot be, okay, I'm spending so much, and the balance, is my savings, and then you just, invest it in a rather random manner. It has to be done on the basis of goals. So goals could be short term in nature. Our expenditure that gives us that thrill, that little bit of jewelry or that car or anything, planning that holiday, or it could be long term in nature. Buying that house, maybe planning for some expenses like your own marriage, your child's education, your retirement, etc. But I think women also need to factor in when they're planning and when they're looking at their finances on a regular basis the fact that at some point of time they actually may have to take a career break. It could come earlier on because you're looking at something like childcare, or maybe later on because of parent care, or for any other reason also. You may just want to plan a sabbatical. Take a 1 year off and do things that you were not able to do up till now. But I think it's important to try and plan that out while it may not actually work, always it may not actually pan out that way. But at least you need to plan for it early on, that there is a possibility that I may actually take a career break, and for that I need to have that emergency funding in place. I need to have an emergency savings in place, and I need to ensure that the savings that I have can be stretched over a longer period of time, even though I may not have a regular income at that point of time. So you need to, I think, plan in advance that there is a possibility that there may be a career break at some stage. So that's one. Secondly, I think it's also important that even when you're planning for that career break, if you're able to plan it in advance, you make your investments in such a way that it matches your risk return profile for the period of time that you're potentially on the break. And you can do this just like the way that you do for the rest of your portfolio, goal oriented. Maybe take help of a financial planner to help you actually plan that. But also, more importantly, plan your insurance, your health insurance, your life insurance, etc. Also, because that should then cover the period where maybe you're not earning and you don't have, you can't fall back on, let's say, a company healthcare policy, which otherwise you may have had when you're working. So I think these are the things that women need to keep in mind. But most important also, I think women need to spend time to invest in themselves and keep on investing in themselves by continuous. And since we know we're limiting this conversation to investment, I think they need to keep on reading up a lot about investments. And you know Shruti mentioned that there's so much information and data out there, but I think even during a career break, women need to continuously invest time in not only continuously upgrading and upskilling their skills for whatever their path is and their career is, but
Yes.
also keeping abreast of what is available in the investment field. There are a lot of things, that keep on, products keep developing. You've got newer asset classes. Deepika spoke of cryptos and NFTs, but you need to be continuously keeping abreast at all points of time.
Right. Okay. Rounding up to you, Lavanya. And as we head towards the close of this session as well, keeping in mind, everything that we have heard of so far on this panel, there is one more point that I thought we should perhaps touch upon is, there is a very real gender pay gap. Women do earn uh, less than men for whatever reason. Having said that, we tend to be more risk averse. I think studies have now validated this. It might also largely dictated by personality types, but yes, women tend to be more cautious and risk averse. In that, with that framework, Lavanya, if you can speak from your experience like you did earlier, give us a sense of what could be a good mix to start with. How can we be more assertive at work as well as with our own finances?
See, while yeah, there is something which is more natural to us is obviously we are risk averse, like but then you can train yourself to kind of see how you can take calculated risks. Okay, one of the things what I really want to mention, and I think so we have all the other three panelists who come from a real financial background, who are actually helping all people to create wealth, right? One thing what all of us should do is actually seek professional help, in terms of how to better our investments. While how much ever you read, okay, but I feel to explain what your goals are and then seek out help, like the other three panelists, they are in that business, so it is important they know what is kind of happening in the market. I would be more than happy to speak saying that this is my goal, and how do you kind of reach out. So I feel asking help is one of the very important stuff which all women should do. I think so we are not that networked, and all of them had kind of highlighted in one or the other way, but how do you create that network for yourself where you get that information from others, like what is it happening. If it's crypto, what is happening in crypto? Like I've been speaking to people, like what will digital currency really do for us, like what is it
Yeah.
going to do for us in form of an investment. Our FM really made an investment saying that we are going to go on digital currency. Can we do those investments upfront to get the benefit up? See, you look at all these things from a corporate, for your companies you do. Why can't you just apply the same principles to yourself also, saying that can I make a little bit more money by probably investing ahead of time, so that I'm kind of covered. So it also takes time to develop that. Okay, one of the very few things my dad did very early is that he took an insurance, and the first paycheck he said, from now onwards you'll pay the insurance. How you pay is your problem, but this insurance I have paid till this date, from now on you'll start paying it. So it's about how you inculcate that habits also, in that. So I feel seeking professional help, talking to people, creating that community, read the forums. Also in internet you read, there's so much of it. Sometimes it's better to stay away from internet and actually ask the right questions to the right people. But you have to be conscious and also monitor your investments. There might be times when you have put in money, say in mutual funds, but it's bleeding, and since you're not looking and you didn't exit at the right time, you made a huge loss, right? And definitely you don't want to be explaining loss. So it's about whether you monitoring the investments also become very, very important, at the same time. I
Okay.
feel asking, really being aware is very, very important. And the same thing comes to it actually, when you're informed, I feel the other person will also kind of look at you, saying that, yeah, like she knows her stuff, right? So they're not going to take you for a ride. So I feel it's important that way.
An investor education and awareness initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.